Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the Fresh Show. What up, though, man? You know what it is, man. It's your man, Young Fresh, back with another episode of the Fresh Show. Today, I got a guest with me. I got my man's Juan. You want to introduce yourself, man? Tell them where to find you if you want to tell them where to find you,
Right.
or whatever like that. That's up to you.
All right. As he put it already, I'm Juan, aka Tribe Ninja. You can find me on pretty much every social platform with Tribe Ninja. Ninja is spelled NJA, just an abbreviation. Tribe is spelled TRYBE. So just one word, Tribe Ninja together, and you can find me on anything.
All right, bet. That's how they can find you. So today's show is gonna be about something that I've been feeling lately. I've been feeling it for a minute, and today it kind of like came to me and it kind of really hit me, and I was like, damn, I see it. And the funny thing is, bro, we was chopping it up earlier and we was talking about, and I was telling you about what I wanted to do this show about, and what the topic was gonna be today, right? And I ended up chopping it up with my homie a little bit. Remember I told you I had to train somebody? I had to train
Yeah,
one of my clients. Yeah, so
yeah.
I was chopping it up with him a little bit and I was telling him about what today's show was gonna be. And before I could even tell him what I felt like the replacement was gonna be, he said it. So anyways, let me get to it, dog. Uh Today's topic is about why I think hip hop or rap is dead and that it's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's my opinion. So before I give you my opinion and why and all that, well, I just gave you my opinion before I tell you why. I'm a I'm gonna let you give me your thoughts on me saying that.
Um, I mean, the phrase itself, hip hop is dead. We know was coined a minute ago by one of my favorite all time, Nas, and I think that some of the reasons behind why he even said that or made that type of public statement, maybe some of the reasons I think he foreseen some of the stuff happening. That probably pushed you to believe what you feel like at this moment. I kind of agree. Maybe we agree for different reasons. Um, but I agree. I believe that hip hop, if not dead already, is a dying uh art form. And I believe we was destined to arrive here. If you just look at the last, let's say especially from like the year 2000, if you just look from 2000 to just say 2020, you can see clearly why rap is pretty much where it is right now, which is a soulless genre. Um, that's been pillaged and capitalized off of to maximum capacity. I don't think you can squeeze much else out of that orange.
I like the way how you put that, like how you said like it's been squeezed to capacity. And I think I really, really resonate with what you just said there, where you talked about how it's been squeezed to capacity, and I feel like that's where I'm at with it, right? And I feel like it's a good thing because, to a certain extent, right, the same reasons why the hip hop heads, so to speak, frustrated with hip hop is the same reason why I feel like it's a good thing. Like, like the hip hop heads, they mad because it lacked the substance, it lacked the the depth, the soul, the quality, whatever word that people want to personify was lacking, right? That's what they feel, right?
Right.
And I feel like it's time to transition over to a new cultural uh figure, I would say. I'm not gonna call it a role model or nothing like that because I feel like that's a stretch, but I'm just gonna say cultural figure, right? And
Right.
I'm gonna tell the people what I think that figure is and who I think that figure is and whatnot, you know.
Right. I think that hip hop in its original, see what people got to do, and I think what people don't do ironically, we in a time where you can have information faster than ever in human history. But you also have a time now where there's so much information that you bombarded with on a daily basis. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Everything is like a needle in a haystack. It ain't just hip hop. It's everything. I believe that. That's why I said earlier when we was talking to just single hip hop out, and I'm not saying that that's what you're doing. I'm saying that hip hop and the current state of hip hop is an indictment not only on the art form but really on the people, on society. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just a medium of communication. Yeah, it was an art form, but it was the way that a certain group of people communicated with each other, what was happening in my neighborhood or what's happening over there. This is in a time when hip hop came around where you didn't have instantaneous communication of every idea and thought. You know what I'm saying? So the music that you waited to hear what a person in California was thinking about, what the reality in California was as somebody in Detroit or as somebody in the South or as somebody on the East Coast. Now you don't have to do that. You can just, I mean, take your pick, whichever social platform you want to get on, and you are bombarded with images and content. Most of it being the BS that rise to the top. And I think that's where the problem came. It got oversaturated for one. And then not only is it oversaturated, it's oversaturated with bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my language, but it's oversaturated with the BS. And that's where the problem started to come, because the BS was selling more than the actual the stuff that was actually gonna help the community out and push us forward as a genre. It took a back seat to what we now understand as like a viral moment. Before, it was just controversy sales, but now controversy manifests itself in viral moments, and that's what they looking for. They're not looking for artists. They looking for people who can go viral and people who can push the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Move that needle.
No, go ahead.
But no, go, yeah. But yeah, that's the, it's I oversimplified it, of course, but it's an indictment on the fact that everybody is doing that. It's the faster you can turn a product out instead of uh cultivating something that can actually be received and and actually help the condition of the people. Now it's just how fast can you put out another song that TikTok can grab a hold of, or whatever it is, or whatever platform. What new viral dance came out, and et cetera, et cetera.
Got you. Yeah, no, I agree. To put it in a nice little analogy that I feel like common people could understand, it's like, it's fast food. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It ain't home cooking, it ain't produce. It's the process, it's the fast food. Not only is it the process, it's the fast food. It's McDonald's, it's give it to you 5 minutes quick. You know what I mean? Give you the dies and all that, get you hyped up, come back and all that, right? Got you. And I agree totally for sure, man. And as bad, I'm a hip hop dude, bro. I got several tattoos, several music tattoos. I used to do music, used to rap, had a studio in my crib, all that, whole nine. But
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's kind of like a gift and a curse. You know what I mean? And it's like the good with the bad, but with everything, I feel like you got to be embracing for the transition, right? So me
Yeah.
looking forward and looking and being embracing for the transition, I'm looking at it for the positives, right? Because
Right.
even though it is some negatives, like we wish it could be this, but it ain't gonna be that, because we know the powers that be, or those who in control of who push the industry, they got an agenda, or they got what they like, right?
Right.
So what's the transition? Where do we go from here? Because what we was trying to really do through the music was be inspirational and tell stories and try to, I guess, create movement or thought, so to speak, right? And I feel like that transition has shifted from the rapper and then move to the podcaster. I
Yeah.
feel like that's the new figure that done took the place of the rapper. One, we gotta understand that the world done extracted from hip hop what it needed to take from it. So much so to the point that we're culturally what we are as a people is unshocking to the world now. Now I can go around and be myself wherever I want to be at, and nobody think nothing of it. That's how far transcending that hip hop took that space and place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with that, you can take that and you can go into spaces. You feel what I'm saying? Like we in this space right now, right? Where
Yeah.
we still got the elements of hip hop all over, right? That's always gonna be
Yeah.
there. If you watch a basketball game, a football game, whatever it is, right? You're gonna have the elements of hip hop culture. Our culture is gonna show up, bro.
Yeah.
Now is
Yeah.
where we take that too. And I feel like the podcaster got a great opportunity to be an influencer and to be a new figure that the black man can, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say look to, because that's a
Yeah.
big word, that's a stretch, right? But
Yeah.
I feel like they can take something from, you know,
Yeah.
and
I
utilize.
listen, right? See, my only pushback of that, because I agree with you, but my only pushback of that is that, see, it was remember earlier when I was saying it was a quote that came to mind, and but I never said it. I don't know. Jay-Z wasn't the he wasn't the person that I'm pretty sure he wasn't the person that came up with this term, but he was the person I heard say it in an interview. I don't know if it was an MTV interview like early in his career. It was in like in the 90s. But he said that no matter where you are, there you are, right? And meaning, and I took that to mean because my uncle said something to me a long time ago, just to tie the two things together. He said, no matter where you go, Juan, you know you got to take you, right? You know you got to take you wherever you go. You can try to start over and move and go different places, you know, where people don't know you and all of that. But you know you still got to take you, right? And what he meant by that was, yeah, you can try to change clothes, you can try to change locations, you can try to change occupations, but the main thing that has to go is still there. The symptoms, the things that rise from the bottom, the person where all of this is emanating from is still there. So all you're gonna do is take the BS that you was engaged in your former lifestyle, your former place, your former employment, whatever, to the new place. So
For
I
sure.
think that what you seeing now with the rise of, look at what No Jumper, and this ain't no this ain't no knock to none of them, because I don't know them people personally, but let's just call a spade a spade. A lot of the people in who get the most popularity, and even in the podcast space, is people who sell controversy. We back at the same problem again. It's just a new medium. You about to have uh guys gang banging on they used to gang bang on wax. Now they gang banging on podcasts. Now they gang
I,
banging on
I mean,
Facebook. You know what I'm saying? And
I
all that.
rather see some dudes. I rather see some dudes beef over some podcast words than to be like really like actually out here trying to kill each other. Like, you know what I'm
But
saying?
listen,
Like,
but that's what
I get
music
I
was
get
started out at.
I get where you coming from, where you like, yeah. And I do agree. I do agree. You do got that aspect where you gonna have that drawback where you gonna have the negativity or the fuck shit that's gonna show up in the podcast space as well. But I still feel like that's where the element, like the way you gotta hold your own in the space of rap versus the way
Yeah,
you can hold your own in the space of conversation and
yeah,
intellectualness is a whole different caliber. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like it's a little bit different. Like the vibrations that somebody give you when they talking And that's not to say somebody can't pull the wool over you when they talking, because they can. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Yeah.
lot of good talking ass motherfuckers out here. You know what I'm saying? We know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But you can at least be a little bit more official. You could at least be a little bit more fact checking. You could at least be a little bit more of, you know what I'm saying? I just feel
I
like
get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what
it
you're saying.
provide that
Yeah, I get.
element.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree. I think that what I would like to see happen, and this is a stretch, and maybe I'm an idealist for even thinking like this. I've been coined as an idealist my whole life probably, so it don't hurt my feelings for somebody to call me that. Um, I think that especially when you got studies that came out over the last, I forgot how many years. I can't really fact check it right now, but whoever is listening to this, um, definitely go look at this. Look at the numbers on uh the people who can read like above a third. I think it's a third or sixth grade level in this entire country, and it'll shock you. It's like 80% or something like that are reading below a sixth grade level. Um, and when you got those type of this is a cross cultural lines. This is just America, period. Um, you have people who flat out cannot comprehend certain levels of conversation. So when you
I
have the
agree.
majority of people who not only can't read and can't comprehend, so they not looking for certain conversations at all because they like, nigga, I don't even know what you talking about right now.
I got you.
Where's the podcast? Where Fresh and Fitting them at? Where all of these people who gonna throw fire and gasoline on a gender war, all of this type of nonsense that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. They see dollar signs, and until people are willing to sacrifice the dollar amounts, but we in the get your coin and get your bag era. Until people are willing to sacrifice that dream of being mega rich and all of that type of stuff, which everybody can't be mega rich. Most people are
I
never
mean,
going to be that.
I feel what you're saying, but that's what come from I feel like with these platforms, right? We got more power than ever, right? I feel like a lot of times we always looking at what the obstacle is instead of looking at what we got to our disposal, bro. Like this is an incredible time where we can be teachers just from our crib, bro. You could be a master
Yeah,
teacher just from your crib. It's all about you and how
yeah,
you see yourself and how big you feel like you can reach and what spaces you can go. Like, you
yeah,
know,
true.
I'm not saying it to say that everybody gotta have that type of reach or try to have that type of ambition. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying like literally, bro, we live in a teach yourself type of society. Like, so I can understand even when you say to me that people read below a certain level, I can believe it because if I tell you who taught me in school, I'm gonna tell you it was myself. Ain't nobody really teach me. I
Right.
just was able to absorb, learn and stuff, see stuff, adapt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like I feel like you know what I'm saying? I just feel like this is I see certain ways that you can use certain tools to do things that you probably thought you couldn't do before. Like I feel like it was a red tape and you can kind of like cut corner and get through that red tape if you feel like you got the right message, man. And your message is gonna be for who it's for. I feel like, you know, not to be long winded, right? But I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes we have such a big ambition, a big want, and we be wanting to
Yeah.
reach such mass amounts with our ideas and our
Yeah.
creativity and our products and our service. We see
Right.
frustration and not being able to do that and not realizing that our message is for who it's for.
Yeah.
Our
True.
product,
True.
our services, our goods. It's for who it's for. People will be mad at their family and mad at their friends because they ain't buy they shit, whatever they do or whatever it is they got. When it's really like, bro, you make this shit for who it's for. Go reach them. That's your ambition. Go reach
That's
them.
true. That's true. You know what's funny about that? And what this is kind of reminding me of, I think that, see, these are my favorite types of conversations. And this is something that I'm newly able to do. because you know how it is. When you feel like when you feel yourself to be a certain type of person, right? Let's say, especially people who think they smart. People who think they smart, man, a lot of times from what I've observed, even from myself, is that we don't like to listen. You know what I'm saying? And what I like about conversations like this, when you learn certain things, I actually had an epiphany when you was just saying that. Like, it ain't that I want rap to go belly up, because I don't believe that that's what's going to happen. But it's gonna go back underground, which it should have never came from out of. We tried the commercialization of our most sacred art form that we came up with, and most times when we commercialize something, we know that it transforms and becomes something else, something that it was never meant to be. Um, and because of that, we got to take a break from rap. But the good part about that is that no other space, I don't even believe there's another genre where you had to keep up with the Joneses and up with an image as much as you had to as a rapper. You can never take the rapper suit off. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter where
Exactly.
you went, you had to be the rapper. So
Exactly.
that's a lot of pressure to put on a human being. But even though a lot of times the person would be then signed up for it themselves, but I think it's out of ignorance and it's out of desperation, because people are a lot of times coming from disenfranchised communities and all that, ain't never even had their own bedroom, ain't never even had their own bed, and you
For
giving them
sure.
what they perceive to be this opportunity, but they don't know what it'll cost them. All they see is the fact that I'm not gonna have to sleep on this futon no more. But giving them more options to be able to escape their reality without having to sacrifice they soul, for lack of a better term, I believe is a good thing. So I kind of do agree with what you're saying, that podcasting can be a new avenue to where you don't have to buy into as much of the character, the what they call that, the caricature of what a rapper had
Exactly.
came to be. It's
Exactly.
dangerous now. You know what I'm saying? It really is dangerous because
Exactly.
of what we built the character of a rapper to be like
Exactly.
now.
And that's all. And that's all that the heart of what the topic of this show is about. Is that my at the core of my reach, who I'm trying to reach to is the kids. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I know what the kids aspire to be because I was a kid. I know what I aspired to be. I know the things that was popping for me. It was athletics, and it was rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was athletics and rap because those are two things that I saw as cool and successful. See, it's not only just to be successful, right? We want to be cool too, right? And
Right.
that's the ties that we got with our culture because we still want to be our
Yep.
culture. We don't want
Yep.
to feel like we don't want to feel like I gotta go assimilate to whatever that is that I don't want to be successful. So these
Right.
are the figures that's why these figures are the figures that we as black men I'm speaking to try to be more than more than not because those are the ones we feel like we can beat and still be like you just said. I can go there and still be there. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's why we gravitate to that. And I just feel like with this, we can transition that shift and show that man. Like my homie, I got a homie, man. He the mailman. He not
Yeah.
no lame. He not no lame.
Yeah.
He don't dress.
Yeah.
He don't
Exactly.
dress like you feel me. He look like the kids want to dress like him. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm not no gangbanger, bro. I don't sell drugs. You feel me? But I know the
Right.
kid. I know I rock with the kids want to rock. I know the kids wanna wanna look like Coach Fresh. I know the kids wanna. You feel what I'm saying? I already know,
Yeah.
and I
Let
ain't
me let
have
me
to
ask
do
you
none
a
of
question.
that. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question, right? Because this is kind of bleeding off into a something I was talking to my mans about, and I was saying that as far as a country, right? Because a lot of our stuff is American culture too. See, we don't really know where the line is because we call some parts, we say the culture, And I think that we trying to describe blackness. It's the black interpretation of American culture. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these things that we want or that we see are things that are find their inception in what we would call a Eurocentric mindset, right? So I give you to give you an example. When I say that I want my preachers let me back up. I want people who are in influential positions, I want them to stop trying to assimilate towards youth culture, right? And I'm gonna tell you why I say that. I remember it was a time I remember reading this somewhere where teachers in ancient times, especially in our culture, we speaking about ancient times, like you couldn't just come out and just be somebody who was a teacher. You couldn't just do that. You had to have lived a certain amount of time and had the credentials to be that. You couldn't just pop out and say you couldn't be in ancient Greece and just be like, you got people like Pythagoras and all of these type of people around. You can't just come out and say you a mathematician and all of that. You had to have gone through the ways and especially a certain amount of time had to have been spent on this earth. So the fact that America, especially Hollywood, has people kind of stuck in those years, in those youthful years, and wanting to hold on to their youth to the point where everything they do is geared towards the youth. Like we don't have let's say, what is the youth? Like, let's say up to about 20, some early 20s years old, something like that. That is a small part of your life. You know, you still have an entire population who are 30 and up. You know what I'm saying? Um, I believe that rap itself, we got rappers 51 years old right now who could really be imparting some real game on the people. But why they not? Because they not 25. Because people not gonna look at them the same. They want everybody, they want all of they faces to be a youthful face in order to sell to the masses. Like the
I don't,
masses is all children.
I don't know if I can agree with that fully because I feel like as you get older, you start to see the real picture, the bigger picture. Like even for me, right? I don't
Yeah.
want to rap. Like I don't want to rap. Like I don't want to be a rapper, bro. I'd rather be a teacher. I'd rather be a coach. I'd rather be,
Right.
you feel me? I'd rather be, like what I'm saying is, right? I don't know. My ambition for rap was always about something different. It had nothing to do with, you know what I mean? But I feel like when you get to the heart of why you trying to do something, right? I feel like
Yeah.
when I mentioned the youth, it wasn't to say to appeal to the youth, right? I don't feel like you
Yeah.
should be going out of character to appeal to the youth. I was just saying that we already appeal to the youth because we are of the culture. And you feel me? We so still of the culture, like you feel me? The youth can look at you and see you like what I mean is it's like on a generational scale. Like when our parents got to a certain age, they didn't look of the culture to a kid. Like
Yeah.
we kind of
True.
like in that first generation of group where we still look of the culture to the kids. Like we
Right.
don't look like oh your daddy lame. Cause you know what I'm saying? Like not on no like your daddy lame shit, but just because like your daddy wear Dockers and plaid shirts. Like my granddad wore plaid shirts and Dockers, and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I didn't want to dress like my granddad. Now I
Right.
get grown and I realize my granddad was the man. He was the guy who I wish I could have right now to be
Exactly.
getting gang from, getting juice from. But this is what I'm saying. We are the first generation that I feel like has a chance to not look like that to the kids. Like the kids not gonna look at us and square us away just off the look solely alone. It's gonna have to be like no, he actually a lame. Like you gonna have to really like do something to be like a lame to them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you
Right.
if you got like a certain type of cultural gift for gab, so to speak, right?
Right.
And this where I feel like guys like me and you come in at, right? What I mean by that is I feel like we're intellectuals, right? But
Right.
still, but still, when I was in school, my teacher told me a word. She told me about me, and it always stuck with me. She was like, "You a code switcher." And it was my first time somebody ever said that to me. She was like, "You a code switcher." And I was like, "I don't know what that means." She was like, "You know how to assimilate to where you go. When you go on the hallway and I see you in the hallways, how you is in the hallways, I think you can handle my class. And then you come in class and then you can be a whole different type of way." And
Right.
I feel like you need those type of guys because those are the bridges. Those are the guys that's gonna be able to coordinate the legitimate intellectual stuff, but be able to translate it in a way that reach the people in a way that, like, I know how to go talk to this guy. You feel me? It ain't gonna be the
Right.
same way I'm gonna go talk to this guy. And that's like, you good with women, right?
Yeah.
Usually you not gonna talk to a woman the same way you would talk to a man,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. True. True. And I think that can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm letting you
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I think that my whole thing was not being against, being able to relate, in code switch and stuff like that. But the example I would give is that I don't want my preacher in a Nike Tech. You know what I'm saying? And I've heard the argument for that where they would say, this is something to be able to bridge the gap, to show the kids that I'm not
That
so out of touch that.
I don't know. See, not to cut you off. My
Go ahead.
argument would be my argument would be about my preacher is I the thing. See, I'm a man that's built on base and principle and value. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right.
the Nike Tech ain't gonna fucking matter to me. I ain't gonna care if that nigga in a motherfucking 3-piece. You know what I'm saying? Or he in
Right.
a Nike Tech. What I'm gonna care about is, do I feel like this nigga stand on principle? You feel me?
Right.
Like that's the type of guy I am. I don't give a fuck about what you look like. You could look like whoever. You could be whoever. If I get the
Right.
vibe from you or I have the experience from you that you don't stand on principle, nigga, I don't give a fuck. Ain't shit you could say that's gonna be sweet to me,
Right.
whether you look like him or don't.
Right. But and my thing is that, and I get that, and you would definitely want him to be a man of character and of substance before anything, but there's a reason that these Fortune 500 companies will hire people from out of the like psychologists or people who understand the power of imagery. Imagery means everything. And because
No,
and
that's
and,
that's
and
true.
because it falls below the level of awareness, a lot of times we don't believe to the the waking mind that these images are having a malign sort of impact on us until you really look at the data. They send these images out because they know that it resonates and sits below the conscious awareness. And you, before you know it, you doing things that you've seen. That's
I agree.
why that's why the military or any of these places or these people who have doctors don't have to wear a white coat. You know what I'm saying? The military, they don't have to wear this when they not actively deployed to certain things. But when I see these people who are in certain positions and I see that uniform, it it literally it begs a different sort of response than somebody who walking around with a t-shirt on. It just does. It does something to the psyche to see
I
someone elevated from the casual walking around person. I see a man walking to the store in the hood with a suit on. Look at the way that people respond to him versus the way that they
I
look at another person. He looks to be an
is
important person that somebody I should probably like, oh, who is this? Who is this
is
person? You know what I'm
that
saying? He wearing
is that
suit.
is that in reference to you talking about referring to how you had to be a certain age or a certain is that like
Right.
a
I'm
connection to
to
that?
the ageism.
It,
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody
it,
cannot be in the youth sort of demographic. They can't. You can't do that. Everybody will look like the exact same person, and everybody is all in
I
this.
I
You know
I
what I'm
understand what you trying to say, right? But
saying?
for that, my response is like you can't fake it. Like that's my thing. You can only fake it to a certain extent, right? And
Yeah.
and if you are faking it to a certain extent, the people that you gonna be able to pull that wool over is gonna be people that's wool pull worthy, right?
Yeah.
None of them people that get caught up in scams and done got scammed by somebody, they don't never get a person like me because I don't be, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it like that, right? Like I'm just trying to say
Yeah.
like I'm just it's plausible from being influenced, right? I'm
Right.
just trying to say that like you can only fake it to a certain extent. I'm not denying what you're saying because I
Yeah.
definitely agree. Imagery is everything. That's why
Yeah.
that's why you I'm a personal trainer. That's why I dress a certain way when I train my clients. That's why, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Right. Right.
I position my
Exactly.
like that's very important. So that's all I'm saying is regardless of who you want to stake your claim as, that's even like me, right? I see myself as a coach, right? That
Right.
doesn't mean that I ignore the fact that I feel like I gotta build these credentials and all of this stuff, right? Because you do. That's what give you
Right.
credibility. That's what
Right.
make people. That's what make people refer you clients or refer you to or put your name in good faith. But
Yeah. For
you know what I
sure.
mean?
When you
I still
not
feel
not to
like
cut you
go
not to
ahead, go
cut you
ahead, go
off,
ahead.
but look, think about this. When you call people to your house, people that you want to come fix on something, the guy that just come in with whatever on versus the guy that come in, you can see he wait a minute, he got this collar shirt on with his actual company right here, the company hat. They got an actual company van and all of that. You know, with it's a presentation thing. It does wonders. You know, like it separates people. It showed. Think about this, right? When you go into people's places of worship in other cultures, right? Do you see the imam and all of that and the Nike Tech? Do you see anybody at the synagogue or any of these places not taking their stuff serious, not taking their houses of worship
My dog
serious?
on the Nike
You come
Tech.
over
Like
here and we get to just wear flip flops and uh
I
and,
don't
and and not be serious. You know what I'm saying about
I
the
don't
fact?
think I don't think that's what I was alluding to. I see what you I definitely agree with what you're saying, right?
Yeah,
Um, I just think that's a little bit different than what I'm alluding to. I'm just saying that you gotta have the cultural reach of the people,
right,
right? And the only way you
yeah,
can do that is to be in tune with the people. That's it.
right,
Like whether that's if you feel like your avenue or your space is gonna be wanting to reach or cater towards reaching the youth, then you got to be in tune with the youth. Whether that's not to say that you got to be dressing like them. I just kind of use that as an
right,
example
right.
to say that back in the day when a kid looked outside the person who he wanted to look at and look at from a imagery perspective, he was the dope man. Now what I'm saying is
Right, right,
that
right.
person can be anybody. He ain't he can work at Lowe's. You feel what I'm saying? And he could
Yeah,
look like what you see on TV as far as the image of hip hop, right?
right.
It didn't used to be like that in earlier 90s. You know what I mean? In those type of days. It
Yeah,
didn't used to be like that. That's all I was
right.
saying when I said that
And I
my
yeah,
homie is the
and I get what you're
mailman.
saying.
I'm
I get what
I'm
you're saying.
this I'm the trainer. This person is this person. But they still
Yeah,
can look at us and see and be like, damn, I actually want to be like my big brother. I actually want to be like my uncle. You
right.
know what I'm
And a
saying?
lot of
I
times, and not, and I mean to
Go ahead.
keep saying
You
this that
good. You good.
I
You
don't mean to
fine.
cut you off. And because I agree with you. I think that what my point was about the culture is that see, my culprit is the culture itself. I believe that there's a problem with the culture itself. And that's why and from the beginning of the conversation, when I said no matter where you are, there you are, that was just the culture is basically an amalgamation of all of us and our attitudes and stuff like that, right? Cultural traditions and all of that in one pot. But the type of content that the culture is asking for and turning out is indicative of where we are as a people. And if you looking at it and seeing what's driving the crowds and all of that, it's not a good look. So I'm like, listen, a lot of it has to do with the fact that people won't grow up. People are refusing to grow up, like, because, and I use Young Money a lot of times as my perfect example, because I believe that they are the Peter Pan crew for real. I believe that nobody under that imprint has been able to grow up. And it's kind of indicative of the rap game at large. You cannot grow up in rap. You can't grow up in rap. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody wants to hear you grow up.
That kind of speaks to the large. I agree, but that kind of speaks to the large topic of the conversation of why rap is dead and hip hop is dead, and that's why we need to stop even looking at that culture as examples of what you see as grown, what you see as grown up, right? Even on a cultural aspect, right? Even on a cultural aspect, right? Yeah. I agree. We do need to grow up, right? But I feel like what is that? What does that really mean, right? We need to really start having a conversation about what does that really mean? Because being grown for a long time used to be told, oh, is having your pants pulled up or whatever the hell it was that people was trying to make the image of being grown is, right? And that done transcended because we in different times. That's all. Yeah. That's all I'm saying is we in different times, right? And the strategy and the look ain't gonna look like what it used to look like. It ain't gonna feel what it used to feel like. The approach ain't gonna feel what it used to feel like, right? I agree with you. We do gotta grow up, right? But the way that you approach the conversation of telling somebody they gotta grow up, it ain't the same no more. Like, I'm more so like I'm a troller now. Like, I like trolling people into making them grow up. Like, yeah, it make them mad. Yeah, and sometimes I gotta be the asshole a lot of times, bro. Like, you know how many times people make believe a whole emotional concept of who they think I am, and I gotta accept that just because I know I don't push their buttons. But I gotta know that if I'm trying to push culture, it's gonna push buttons. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I just feel like we just gotta start setting up them spaces to push buttons, man. Like
true.
And it ain't gonna look like what it used to look like. It ain't gonna look like your kid going to school and getting a traditional education, man. He gonna have to get an education that's gonna have to involve his parents. It's gonna have to involve some good influences on the internet. It's gonna have to involve some good friends in this corner. Like, and if you not accepting that that's what the new cultural norm look like of growing up and developing a person in today's society, then it's gonna always get caught up in up against all the stuff that you mentioned. Like when you talk about how basically we're just gonna call it the machine. It's gonna always get caught up against the matrix, man. It's gonna always get caught up against that. If you ain't realizing how the matrix extensive is, man, and we gotta fight on all sides, bro. We gotta fight on all sides.
It's true. I think about this right now. I think that people used to say this when I was younger, right? And it didn't. This is why I brought up the thing about people used to have to wait a certain amount of time to be a teacher, right? Because the very revelation that I've been bullshitting, it didn't even come into my mind until I was a little older. Until, and then all of the conversations I had, I started to think back and recollect about all of the opportunities, all of the things that I had been immature about. I was rushed. It's like images started to flood into my mind when I reached a certain level of maturity. And I thought about, what if I had been raised? Yeah, right. What if I had been raised like this all along? What if somebody had told me? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So wait, the earlier we can get these things into people's minds. And I think that trying to throw out, and I'm not saying this what you said, I'm saying that this is the way that the culture moves now, because this is American culture. It's move on to the next thing, move on to the
Right,
next thing.
fast,
It's
fast,
so
fast,
fast.
fast.
It's a
Hmm.
fast-paced life. It's a fast-paced society, and we missing a lot of things. Before,
For sure.
patience was a virtue, because everything that you needed to cultivate involved patience. It wasn't instantaneous. You had to grow your food. So the fact that I had
Facts.
to actually plot this land and treat this soil and do all of this, there was a huge reward at the end, because I actually waited for my reward and my prize. Versus
I agree
now,
with that.
teaching people about this internet age and teaching them, like, from the fact, from the basis of everything happens instantaneously, is kind of being disingenuous. Yeah, certain parts of the world do that, and you have to assimilate towards it with certain jobs, or the demand, where the customer base demands that you do things in a certain timely manner. That's
Hmm.
cool. But we have parts of ourselves that have been trained to think that certain shit is supposed to happen fast as hell. That's where you
No.
see shit like the BBLs and all of that, versus people trying to get in the gym.
Hmm.
Nobody wants to do
Hmm.
old school stuff. No, they think that we
Speaking my
supposed to just throw the
language.
old school way out. They think we supposed to just throw that out. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
No,
that's in several industries. Several
I
industries
agree.
want to take cuts. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree with what you said. I agree with
Yeah.
what you saying all the way and fully through, right? And I can
Yeah.
resonate. I can resonate that with myself, right? And that's where I was kind of talking about with rap, right? I wanted to
Yeah.
be a rapper. It was a talent that I had, right? But the reason
Yeah.
why I wanted to be a rapper, because that was a fast forward way to where I could be where I wanted to be and be able to do what I
Right.
wanted to do, right?
Right.
And like you just
Right.
said, when you get into the thick of life, and I feel like when that maturity start to set in, you start to realize, like, damn, how impatient I was, how in a rush I was to do this, to be that, to go here, to see this, to do that, right? And I
Yeah.
wasn't really cultivating myself. I wasn't really
Mm-hmm.
finding myself, discovering my pure, my pure love, my hobbies, my pure passions, the things I'm really impactful. I want to be impactful about. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, right?
Yeah. True.
So I definitely agree, right? Right? Because I'm at that
Yeah.
age. I'm about to be almost in my mid 30s, right? Where like
Yeah.
I'm really feeling that, right? Like, damn,
Yeah.
I was so in a rush to feel like I had to have this done by this time, be here by this place, do this by this time, and now I find such a peace and just realizing that I'm okay. I'm gonna always be okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna always be positive and working towards something because that's who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
True.
and I don't know. I'm kind of lost the train of thought, but that's
Listen,
kind of how I feel about that, man.
it's man, certain things like what you doing, man, with fitness, um, and going about it the hard way. Those are people who got to be on the front lines. I believe that everybody need to take a step back and realize, man, that advanced, what they call artificial intelligence, or you could call it advanced intelligence or whatever, is here. And the things that it's gonna bring in and usher in with it. We on the precipice of a new era right here in front of us. And people are going to get left behind at a faster rate than they ever have in history if you don't understand certain concepts. Now, what I believe is that there are certain things things of what it means to be human that are under attack. You know what I'm saying? Certain processes.
Of course, of
And
course.
the way that we eat, the way that we exercise, the way that we sleep, the way that we take in these images, the brain wasn't meant to have this much information. We wasn't meant to see this many people. This is the first time that we've been able to do these things. So we have to understand what comes with that. And what comes with that a lot of times is that you lose disorientation, confusion. It's too many options. There's too many
Hmm.
choices in every direction you look in. A lot of times, the people
That's
in the generations in the past, they didn't have such a hardship because they didn't have as many things to choose from.
there's a such thing as having too many options. You don't know what direction to look in because every time you turn around, it's a new opportunity, a new option presented to you. How can you settle down with doing just this or with just this woman when every time I log on to the internet, I see 1,000 more? So you need
No,
old
I
school
agree.
principles, old school things that they wouldn't teach you today. Today, they would teach you to
I
grab as
mean,
many opportunities as possible. In the old, they
that's
would
where
tell you that, hey, listen, man, you might wanna slow down, young man. Take your time, young
you
man. Don't you rush
you
to get
sound you
old.
sound
You
you
know.
sound very right. You sound
Yeah,
very right, and that's where I challenge people like you to
yeah,
be in the spaces of guidance. Like like you know what I mean? Cause
yeah,
that's ultimately what it is, right?
yeah.
My grandma always stress something to me, right? It's crazy because the older I get, the more it seems like I be the parent to my parents and my grandparents, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the thing about it is, I remember my grandma telling me something. My grandma told me a lot of stuff, right? She taught me a lot of different things, but I remember one thing she used to always say. She don't even remember she used to say this to me, right? It's crazy, but she used to always say, "Balance, be balanced. Make sure you be balanced, right?" And that's where I always draw back to, like, balance. Like, I'm a health guy. I'm into fitness because health is the reason why I'm into fitness. My barometer in life is health. I look at health first, right? And I feel like health is centered around having a proper balance. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you. We are overloaded. We are distorted with emotions and and you know what I mean? Overloaded with ambition. You know what I mean? This is why we can't see relationships as like a real answer or the foundation or see the means to an end with marriage and stuff like that, right? That's where I feel like we gotta have that balance and we gotta have proper people teaching us that proper instruction, that balance. You know what I mean?
No, I believe I wholeheartedly agree with you, bro. And I think that my main message that I always try to get across, excuse the background, but
No, you good, bro.
my main message that I be trying to get across to people a lot of times, especially now, is that um, you know, a lot of those people, man, that you like you said, your grandma and all of these people, man, listen, bro, think about this. When we was young, our the people we looked up to, a lot of those people had came up here from the South. You know what I'm saying? I don't know
For
about
sure.
like I'm pretty sure your grandparents,
Yeah.
but now if you look, grandma ain't from the South no more. Grandma don't have for these kids now. Grandma from up here. Grandma didn't live the city life. You know what I'm saying? And all of this. So
Hmm.
it ain't the same teaching. It ain't the same lessons being learned. Everything uh is like a fast food sort of upbringing. You know, everything you do is even your interpersonal relationships don't seem to be as deep as they once was. Everything seems to be headed towards this old shallow existence. And we are in a time now where that's about to go into hyperdrive. And if we don't hold on to what it means to be human in certain aspects, we are completely about to merge with the machine, uh, no pun intended, for real. We literally
I
about to
mean,
lose what it means to be human and just merge with a machine in a lot of ways. And you can see it with augmented human body parts now. Motherfuckers is literally swapping out shit that they don't like about their bodies instead of, embracing it, embracing what it means to be you and all of that. They like, no, nigga, I don't like my goddamn nose. I'm about to take this motherfucker off my face. I don't like my this. I'm about to take this motherfucker. I'm about to build a new human in the image that I feel like I want to look like this now. And be looking for that to be a major industry within the next 20 years. People who are, and as technology advances and goes forward, it ain't gonna just be small shit like now, like where people going to, niggas is going to get fake six packs. You know what I'm saying? Imagine what it's gonna be like when people is able to get, and I ain't trying to be vulgar or nothing, but when niggas is going to go get fake penises, motherfuckers is going to get fake all type of shit. Like, you like, damn, the person that you
I
were
mean,
at your birth is not the person that I'm looking at right now. And your DNA and all of that still has the signature of the person you was born with.
my thing is,
You know
my
what I'm
thing
saying?
is though, my thing is,
Yeah,
bro, we can live in a world, we can live in a world where we fear the way the world gonna change, right?
yeah,
Or we can live in a world where we try to figure out how to configure in a world that's gonna change, because it's
true.
gonna change.
Yeah, it's gonna
Like,
change.
like
It's gonna change. It's
if
changing.
you right, so if we know
Yeah,
that, right,
yeah,
like I'm a solution based person. I'm not the person that want to sit up ranting about the problem all day. Like, hey yo, the government fucking us over. Like that's what a lot of people want to do. Like they just want to be like, government fucking us over,
yeah.
instead of saying what you gonna do about being fucked over. My
Exactly.
my whole aspect
Exactly.
is I don't rely. I don't rely. I don't wait for someone to create something for me. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I don't feel like the answer to our problems is waiting for, or to our collective problems, I'm gonna say, is waiting for someone to come do something about it, right? If you're
No.
not being innovative in a world that's gonna be innovative around you, then
Right.
you gonna perish.
Yeah.
So like we can't just keep having a, and I'm not saying this is what you doing, right, or this is what anybody doing specifically, right, but we can't just keep having a pity conversation, right? The
True.
conversations got to start being about solutions, and it got to start being about improving and being more impactful in the solutions. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Like that's what it got to be. and
And I
and
think
that's
that
kind of like with,
go ahead, go ahead.
go ahead.
And I was about to say,
No,
and
go ahead.
my solution to a lot of these problems that we facing now is people pushing more humanism. People pushing to preserve a lot of the parts of us that we stand to
What
lose.
what
You know what I'm saying?
what do that look like? Elaborate on that. Like tell me what that look like for you.
So
Like
that looks
elaborate what
like,
pushing more
yes.
humanism looks like.
So that looks like not seeking out perfection. There's no such thing as perfection. There's no such thing as those like what we doing with these filters and all of this type of shit. We need to understand that these are just little tactics and something that we doing to make a picture look better, and not completely being consumed by it. Consumed by a lot of these industries that are preying on people's insecurities. They preying on these motherfuckers, dog. So I think that teaching people the fact that, yeah, listen, you're born, you go through a childhood, you look a certain way in your teens and early 20s, but then, you don't look that way your whole life. And then love and beauty and standards and shit, they change over time. You're not going to feel this way your whole life. Preparing people for the fact that there are seasons instead of just, I think that the information that we feed people right now is as if they're going to stay a child forever. You know what I'm saying? No, there are seasons. And then you need to be prepared for the next generation up under you. But that's only one aspect of society. Children, they're not the people running it right now, but they are the future. I think that there are a lot of people in the serviceable industries right now, right? Let me give you another example of what I mean by pushing humanism and humanitarianism more. And this is one of the efforts that I want to get into myself. Um, because like you said, you mean, come on, bro. You know me. I was a rapper. I was a nigga that was that wanted to be cool with being a womanizer and getting as many hoes as I could, fucking as many. But I know that that's a lifestyle of death now. I understand that spreading myself too thin can actually deteriorate my health. I didn't see it that way before because I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that these things would actually harm me in the long run. So what I'm saying is teaching these young guys uh, from the perspective of the fact that you are older now and you understand that shit changes and that people go through transitions. Um, Younger people now, man, and even when I was older, I'd never seen. It's so weird, right? It's kind of almost stupid to say, but this is a real thing. I'd never seen myself getting older, but a lot of people don't. They don't even think about that. They don't even think about the fact that they not gonna be 25 forever because you just in it at the moment. And a lot of people were not prepared to be older, and for your body, and you know this, for the fact that maintenance looks different once you get a little older. maintaining the body. You ain't just finna just spring out your goddamn sleep and and do certain things when you start to get up in age. It don't work like that. We need to start being real with people about life and the processes, about the fact that we need health insurance after a certain point, or life insurance, because you die. People die. People live lives and die. That's what happens. But that dash in the middle of your born this day and die this day, that dash in the middle is where you really need to be doing your most impactful shit at. You get a whole dash in the middle. Live a real life, man, that has something to do with being of service to humanity in your community. That's what I didn't like, and to bring it full circle about rap. Because if you look at rap right now, you're supposed to be able to look at a culture's music and see where the culture is at that point. And if that's true, then what the fuck does the current rap out right now say about us? Even the current podcast. Look at who the top podcasts in our
Man,
community. Just look at them. Just look at
Kanye,
who the top
Kanye told
podcasters are.
y'all.
You know what I'm saying?
Kanye told him.
My bad. I'm outside. But
I see.
yeah,
Damn.
outside on these streets. But yeah, man.
I said the wrong name. No, I'm
Nah,
just
yeah.
hey, I know, but
Right,
look though.
right.
But look though, so we've been going for an hour, bro. So
Yeah,
we gonna wrap up the show.
for sure.
I am gonna say though, I do agree with you,
Uh-huh.
and that's kind of like really bringing the message that I was really trying to push from the
Mm-hmm.
beginning full circle, because that's all I was really trying to say. And again, from the beginning, is that the podcaster can kind of be like a guy that's in that space that can serve a purpose to push forth a certain type of information. Like, we got to remember,
True.
this is still a form of media, bro. Like, this is a form of media, and that's what they want to control, the media. And this is our form of having strength and having some form of voice and media.
True.
So that's what
Yeah,
I was
I
kind
agree
of
with you. I agree.
trying to speak to, as far as like the podcast are replacing the rapper. Remember, this is what rap started coming from Black Panthers. The revolution won't be televised. Remember, that's the type of shit that it came from, right?
Yeah.
It was all supposed to be media and messages. So we just gotta still be in control of those messages and be in control. And I feel like guys like you and me, we can be in those spaces. That's why I would want to definitely have you on the podcast. I was in a rush to get you on the podcast
For
right
sure.
away. You know
For
what I
sure.
mean? Because
Man,
I feel like you were.
we gotta have a
Go
part.
ahead.
We gotta continue. We gotta have a part 2.
No, definitely. It might be a part 2, part 3 of this, because I know a few people who interested in this same conversation, right? And that just goes to show how the conversation has been way deeper than rap from the beginning, bro.
Yeah, deeper than
And we
rap.
really trying to get to the culture, bro. That's what we really been trying to do, get to the culture. And I feel like let's just keep doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
So again, bro, I want to thank you for coming on to the show, bro.
Now, I appreciate you for inviting me, bro. We definitely gotta do it again, man.
No, for sure. So I'm gonna wrap up the show. You know, as always, what I always say, man, this show is about healing, bro. And I feel like how we do that is having an open dialogue and coming together. You know, I always say with an open hand, you can do some damage, you know, but when you ball it up and turn it to a fist, that's when you really can rock some shit. You feel me?
Right.
So that's what it is, man. So thanks for joining us, man. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. It's the Fresh Show. We out.